in every applause that I made, thousands of people were mentally collapsing. Over the next template of 10 minutes talk, more than hundreds and thousands of people will try to suicide themselves. I would like you to share these charts with me. Burnout rates are higher than ever in human history, alongside depression cases and anxiety levels upon our youth. But the question is, why are we, human beings, having so much trouble living the life we always dreamed about? If we no longer have to hunt animals to have food, dinner, and we no longer have to read old magazines when we can be aware of them in our phones. We have more information spread away than ever, and yet we see more loss in destiny than ever been seen. Apparently, as all these things arises, the rise of video games came in, and the rise of social media at bedtime. Things that pushes us towards segregation instead of unity, disconnection instead of connection, isolation instead of incorporation. There are kids nowadays that they feel they don't fit in, while others rely on artificial intelligence like my best friend. This is highly concerning because we are leaving slowly by time our nature behind. And that nature is that we human beings, we are not social, we are hyper-social beings. For centuries, our survival and growth depends only and entirely on the quality of interactions that we had with other people, how well we did deal with them. But now with the tools that we created, we can become slaves into our mental caves, slaves that avoid judgment, criteria, in other words, objects of others' agency. There are people that said, no, I don't feel connected to that. I actually don't feel that I need to be around too much people. But I want you to remember, including myself, that everything that we get in this life, everything comes through other human beings. Our resources, our opportunities, our network, and our support. So if we can interpret that, that means that our daily behaviors, our daily choices, does not just shape our life. It shapes every barrier around ourselves as well. The more positive these are, the more the reward we might get. And as a sequence, the more negative these are, the more consequences we will have to live with. And what determines the quality of our choices? Our quality of personal accountability. And that's what I truly believe, that we just have two choices in this life. We can ignore personal accountability and destroy our life and every barrier around our cycle as well, every relationship, or we can choose to be personally accountable. And we will create that positivity, that mindset, and that willingness to success that we always wanted to have. How do I know this works this way? I personally live it. A couple years ago, as you can see in this screen, this was me. Back then, I was very exhausted. Body shaming had affected me deeply. I was treating my mom mad, I was treating my brother in the horrible way, and everything for me felt uncertainty. I was trying to show how stronger I felt, but in real, I was feeling anxious about myself. I was trying to be someone who I was not meant to be. So one day, my mom came in, and I told her all the uncertainty that I was feeling. And as we go on, I expressed my feelings to her, and I told her, Mom, what can I do to get away from here? I need your help. She told me about one secret, a secret that has been used across all civilizations of human beings who achieve the greatest success and the greatest happiness in the world. She told me, you need to make yourself be seen as humble, and make others feel connected to you. In other words, you need to develop the skill of accountability. This skill will give you the success, the glory, and the liberty that all of you were always wanting to have. And I said, what? Does accountability give you all that power? I've never thought in my life that personal accountability was that powerful. And you know, as a teenager, I had those instincts of saying, I don't want to hear what my mom has to say. But instead of that, I said, let me leave that emotions behind and see what she has to say. So I started researching books, I started hearing motivational speeches, and I just researched as much as I could. And I asked ChatGPT one question one night. And that question was, how can I earn respect from others? A qualitative research over 100 youth in the whole United States, including young professionals, college and high school students, make the same question. What does make a youth be respected? They studied over all these guys, and they found one pattern, a pattern that can totally change your perception upon these words. They found that what makes youth people be respected is that they have a higher list of peers who admire them, who see them as role models to follow. And most importantly, those peers who gain respect are the ones that have people who believe on what they believe. They have an inner self-agency that they believe enough on their power so that others around him does the same. It was not about being good looking. It was not about having charisma. It was not about being strong. I tried all of that and none of that worked. What truly mattered was self-consistency and ownership over your action. The study was surprising because it wanted to show that the more we believe in ourselves, the more others will believe us back. And the more we take in consideration how our choices affect other people's life around us, the more they will do that back to us. Therefore, the more empathy, the more success, and the more goals that we achieve. Because we all need people to achieve our goals. But how can science prove this is true? When we interact with others, our subconscious mind emits signals, tone of voice, facial expressions, even some intrusive thoughts through a phenomenon also known as limbic resonance. Our brain and your brain right now as I'm talking is interacting with me. You are sensing that because in our limbic system, which is also known as our emotional brain, all of your brains are connected to me. Right now, you're having those thoughts. You're sensing what I see, what I'm having right now. If I have fear or doubt, you sense it. If I don't, if I have happiness or I just feel great, you will sense that back. You will play with that. So what I'm trying to say is that if I didn't take personal accountability over my own actions, and most importantly, if I didn't really care how my lack of accountability was making my mom's health worse, my brother's health worse, and everybody around myself, including schools, teachers, were having things worse because of my lack of accountability, will anybody actually care about me? And most importantly, if I didn't respect myself, why should somebody respect it? So if we want to truly change our life, it's not about working harder. It's about taking others in consideration. Because self-accountability is not working just on yourself and having total ownership. Self-accountability is holding yourself accountable while holding others around you as well. So I apply all this knowledge and I became renewed. I started going into leadership positions. I became more happy with myself. I became more renewed. I felt incredible great. But the question is still, how do we make that possible? I call it the 4 habits of high ownership. In other words, the 4 habits of high personal accountability. Habit 1, be real. You don't need to try to mimic that you're somebody that you're not. Be authentic with your words. People will sense when you're trying to fake someone that you are not. And if you can incorporate that, then people will start trusting you. Habit 2, change I for we. When was the last time that you were in a conversation and you were saying, I am a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I make this much money, I am so proud of my life, yes, I did X, Y, Z. You have to understand that people don't really concern about one's self. They want you to make them felt seen. And the only way in which that's possible is by including the we. When we are having a conversation, see how it changes. Incorporate that and don't be isolated from others. Habit 3, move in silence. Stop trying to tell everybody what you're doing. Keep quiet when you're required to. Not every cycle around you needs to know your plans, your goals, your dreams. Make them possible. Make them and let your results talk for you instead of telling people what are you trying to do. And habit 4, be selective. Understand that your energy, your vibration, and all the things that you have since you wake up are the most important things in the world. When you wake up in the morning, the most important thing that you can do is selecting which habit are you wanting to have, which behavior are you using, what task am I investing my time on. Because those are the only thing that shapes your success, your levels of accountability. And if you don't take that in consideration, you will always be leaving behind. Because again, personal accountability is not just holding yourself, it's knowing how to hold others. So that you can become the protagonist of your life, not the antagonist. Be the one who's here, seen and respected by others, and start taking that ownership of your life that just comes when you take responsibility. Because if I didn't come to speak here today, guess what happened? Someone else's life will be gone. If I didn't make enough commitment to myself to be here standing up, other people will be suffering. And it's not happy at all when people simply get wrong because of your actions. So your life didn't end with you. It always ends affecting your whole surrounding. Understand that and change your whole life. Thank you.